always want to know is when some coach gets up in front of other coaches, why? Why do we need a 2-receiver wagon? I think we've already shown you, what, 4 or 5 or 6 wagons there. Why? Well, I talked about, our formations were pretty compressed that you saw. This, however, forces the defense to defend more of the field. It changes the strength of our formation as we initially put it in. We don't have to do it that way. Ensures a man in the crosser position. As we talked about that tight end getting underneath and going underneath the first backer and reading the second backer, I've also seen where that tight end got fence post, got knocked down, didn't get to that spot. Now the quarterback went 1 to 2 to 3. He's not there. He's not there. That coach told me that guy was going to be there. All right, and that happened to me on occasion. It helps the quarterbacks and receivers read the coverage. Much better. Okay. Now, the famous 2-receiver wagon. Here we go. All right, we're going to line up in just a base front, and we like it out of just a 100-900 set initially. But notice, the ball now, my diagram's not, but the ball now is on the left hash. We like running this to field. I never get everything graphically correct, so sometimes it looks a little weird, but we do it on the field. Are your hash marks, well, that's another thing, did your hash marks move in when the colleges moved in? Our high schools were that's even better. Let's start it out by talking about cover 3, though. Okay, that's what we. Is that what you guys get most of anyway, though, or? Yeah. Okay. We're going to run this out of a run-to, and run-to motion for us is that. Okay. It's not wing T motion, it's fly motion, it's got a big name. So. What do y'all call it in California? Huh? Fly? I couldn't hear much.
Run to fly.
Run-to motion, fly, okay. We have to call it run-to. All right? We're going across the formation. So now, like I said, we've changed it, and now we encourage the quarterback to give the receiver time. When I say receiver, give the wingback time to get to where he's got to get. And it's when we talk about timing, we don't expect the quarterback to time that guy up. We expect the run-to guy to do it, to get where he's supposed to get. So if he's running across, and the quarterback's going to keep it pretty much his normal cadence. But this guy here always on run-to waggle, and virtually all of our plays, wants to get about 4 yards outside the tackle, or in a place where he can at least be head up on a curl flat defender. Okay, everybody's going to do waggle. Boom, we won't get around. Boom. With a few slight modifications. All right, now we're going to deepen this guy up. Now we were 12 back to 10. Now we want to go 14 back to 12 versus 3 here. So we're going to deepen the route a little bit. The run-to guy runs, and I told you I don't have it graphically correct, to the hash marks. Let's get the hashes over here. To the hash mark. And at 10 yards, he runs what we call a read route. He can duck outside, or he can duck inside. He's at 10. Fullback, I told you, is I got him through A gap there, but he's in the flat. The tight end, rather than running a soft post since he's the backside receiver on a two-receiver route, we want you running a hard post through the free safety. Okay. What have we done to field now? We feel like now we've put more pressure on the defense to cover the whole field. We're putting people over there. You've got a lot of field over there to work with. The field's 52 feet, 2 2/3 yards long, and there's like 17 yards with the hashes. Michael, help me with all that. I know you know all that stuff. But now we feel like we've got two receivers far enough apart that we've got the defense in a bind. I've assured myself that guy's basically in the tight end position, a little bit shallower, however. But he's in a position that I know he's going to get there. I'm not sure on a single receiver waggle if the tight end's ever going to get there. Now, he will for the most part, but I know this guy's going to get there. I know. I've assured that he's going to get there. Our quarterback reads are basically the same. If we've got a throwing lane to the outside here now, we'll take that. Now I got to admit, man, that's a long throw, and maybe you might want to do something different over there. Maybe you want to shorten that guy's route. Maybe you want to make it a stop route. Maybe you want to do something else. It's a pretty long throw, and our quarterback will throw that on the 6-step. A lot of air time involved there. We'll throw it, and I'll show it to you on the phone here. But usually now this guy gets a chance because it develops a little bit slower. Get off the 6-step. If there's somebody underneath it, we're putting this guy in a bind now. The curl flat defender. If he gets underneath it, then there usually can't be anybody on this one. We go, and this our progression rate is 1 to 2 to 3. And we've thrown a touchdown there before, but we don't really consider him part of it.
What's the depth of the number 2 receiver?
10 yards. And now, we feel like that strong safety, you know how those strong safeties are, or outside backers, as they see him stemming up the field, sometimes they want to fence post him, and that's good because now there's nobody that can stop the outcut except maybe the corner jumping it. I've already told you my bad experience about that, so that can happen, but it's ensuring us a pretty nice throwing lane, I think, if we get fence post. If that guy now realizes he's got to drive the width because of the wide out, and now he's outside of our run-to man, we always encourage, though, I said it's a read route, and we gave him like 3 yards outside the hash to 3 yards inside of the hash. We always wanted to turn out because we felt like all the flow was coming out towards him. Turn outside, and if the backer or strong has got you covered underneath, then slide back inside. And yet some of our guys would say, I saw the guy out, he got me outside, so I turned inside. The bad part about that is the quarterback might be throwing it, and nobody saw that backer scraping out there. You know what I mean? And I thought it was open too, and the backer's peeling. So we encouraged him to turn outside, but we gave him that much room to work. Unstoppable route. I'm just telling you, you can't stop it. you know how your backers are always running with somebody in the flat, you know, or at least, you know, they're always running in here with this guy, you know, and the strong safety, I don't know what he's doing, but, you know what I mean, it just gives them a whole new set of problems to deal with if they're going to run. If he's going to run in the flat with a guy, you know, and that guy's got to try to do something. He's a curl player. I don't know. It has just been miraculous for us, and it's so simple to do. We don't just do it out of that formation. You know, I get a little paranoid about always doing run two. We like it though. Don't get me wrong, but we can line up and we can line up in it. As an example, and just do it from there. You know, read, out, take it. You know what I mean? And quick snap them or something. You know, some people say, well, you know, you're always running to. You know, we got all kinds of cue busters and all, but for run to, and we do a lot of run to, by the way. But you know, we will do run to in other formations too.
Split on the X.
He takes a normal split. Coach, let me tell you something. I'm going to talk about like having sex with a goat here in a minute, but we have all these things written in our playbook. If the ball's on the left hash, you're here, you're there, you're everywhere. And I always either had a part-time receiver coach or a student receiver coach, and I'd always come in there, Greg, you guys watch those guys line up this and that. And then once we got it, I can't remember what it is now, because then every play had an exception. You know what I mean? Yeah, okay, your rules say you're 3 yards outside the hash when the ball's in the middle of the field. But on this play, go ahead and move inside. So, you know, we always said, we got back and said, get about, 14 yards from the tackle. You know what I mean? Make sure that you can ensure that you can break an out cut, and we don't want your out cut 5 yards closer to the sideline when you start going into your break. Did that answer your question? Huh? Or whoever asked it, yeah. You know, in other words, what I'm saying is, I'll give you my playbook and I'll show you where they're supposed to be based on where the ball is on the hash, and yet that didn't work either. You know, we came up with something. But what you don't want to have happen though now, and we would bait people, we would say, okay, you can line up tighter because we know you're running an out cut, and as you're sticking that guy's technique, you're really getting a lot of width as you go. You know what I mean? So that you don't look like you're doing something you normally wouldn't do. Because you can see sometimes in some of our cut-ups, it looks like our guys are getting too close, but when the routes are over with, you know, there should be a big, you know, there shouldn't be able to be one guy that can take both of them. Okay, and now I don't know if we go back a little bit, you can see how maybe that runaway waggle fits nicely into that. You know, even though the backs are offset, now you're running away and you're not coming that way, you're going back the other way. That's why those two are, even though you're in a heavy set. Now, let's talk about cover two here real quick. If we do it versus cover two, most of the time, however, we got a cover three look out of it, because you know not too many people would stay in cover two to twins. And basically, that's a modified form of twins, or almost, you know, we've passed the ball out of this set. It's almost, you know, you can almost have a case for it being trips if you snuck that guy out of there. But anyway, but if we ever got two, what's this guy's rule on cover two with waggles to start with? What's he do? He's going to run a jet. All right, and
slide it over, coach.
He's going to run a jet. And now, as we stuck it upfield, you know, he's going to do his thing. right there. And then fullback's still in the flat. We still think it's a great route versus 2. Versus man. And we call it tight man. As this guy came across now, we try to teach him a few things. What? If somebody's following you across, what can you expect? Some form of man. Okay? You're probably, if he's tight man, what's his route problem? Jet again. And we always wanted a crosser, I said, right? Well, now our crosser is this guy, so we told him, you stem upfield. Now instead of 8 yards, go ahead and stick him just like you're doing your normal route. Now you go ahead and convert that, and you become a crosser, just like our tight ends were, just like our just like you were if it's man when you're back here. But now you stick the guys if you're just running a normal route or maybe run the post, and now you break it out because now you're we're going to look up here for the jet first, but actually now you become the guy we're going to get to as the crosser's man. And he just, he had to know that. It's man to receiver waggle, because there's nobody over in that zone. We want you to be the crosser. And boy, we like that. We thought if you stick him enough, you're open. And there was times, and I don't want to make it too confusing, but there was times we felt like even, let's say back here in cover 2, if that guy ran as the flat defender in cover 2, and he knew it, we felt like he could vacate that area. We didn't care if he stuck it out over there either. That was a game week work on type of thing. If we knew, hey, you get outside leverage on their corners, we can do it. Go ahead and convert that just like it's man, because that guy is basically playing our wide out man now. So, we can make little adjustments like that. Simple, man. Simple. All right, the other thing that we could start doing and playing around with this set was this. Sometimes we felt like, hey, one way they could get to it, because our tight ends were so slow, they never really did affect that free safety, So sometimes the free would come down there and rob it. They would get in the throwing lane, our backer would run with our guys in the flat, and now this guy would run down and rob that sit-down read route. So we had to have a few answers, so we started doing what we call run to, waggle, called routes now. Run to, 929 waggle, called. And now we can do anything that we wanted to. Well, not the players, I mean as coaches. We can say, I'll tell you what, let's do. That frees Rob, and our first route we like to run then was sit down no matter what, and we would call post sit down we call it. We always, anytime we call routes, they go outside in. So that guy's robbing, so now he would come up here, and he would shuffle like he's going to do his out break, and now he would dig in behind that guy, or post in behind that guy that's, so we catch people cheating. We felt like we could call routes, we could call post and fly, where now this guy would, would come up just like he's going to sit down, and then he would fly up the alley based on coverage, and we didn't care if it's 2 or 3. We put those in, if people were cheating, and they were playing. There was no conversion, there was no nothing. If we called post and fly, you ran post and fly, regardless of what the coverage is. And hey, you guys are more creative than me, I'm sure. So anything you feel like somebody's cheating, or anything you like. We never ran a curling out because we had too many other ways to run curl, but we just felt like, hey, we can run any type of combination routes, and we always got a little safe and flat, So one of the things that we said, and I think you need to realize, remember how I said that we run a hard post with the backside tight end. If we ever caught our front side post, obviously that guy couldn't become a part of You know, we didn't want two guys running right at the free safety. No matter how slow he was, we didn't like that. So if he ever got a front side post, he was just to run a streak route on the backside, to hold the backside down. Real quick, and we'll go outside and do some talking here. Or I got some film. I'm going to show you some film here. One of the things we evolved to once we started getting some better, not better receivers, never better than John Taylor, but once people started getting onto us a little bit, and we spent so much time working with the receivers in the latter stages of this thing because we had a good thrower. We felt like that there was times, and I'm sure you guys feel this way, that sometimes these guys, we're training them as receivers, we're training them as blockers. They've got so damn much to do, you know what I mean? How about let's give the ball to the guys that do it all the time? And I'm always racking my brain about that. Well, how can I do that? How can I do that? And, I came up with this. You know, we would call extend to instead of run to. Modify this guy's split now, so he's in tighter, about, you know, if we said 14 yards, now he's in about 6 yards from the tackle. And now extend to was, now this guy would run the outside route, and in general, we would modify it some. You know, he would run a 12-yard stop. He's 2 yards deeper than that guy was in the beginning, so he'd run a 12-yard stop. Now this guy would run, you know what I mean, his route. Now men, if I should be shot for anything, I should be shot for not doing that more. Because here you go, you've worked all week now on, he's over here, you make your adjustment, you do that, and now all of a sudden that guy goes out wider when that corner's been used to staying right on that wide out. And you know, it's not any big deal, but it's one of those ones that maybe they didn't get to. And we'd only do this maybe twice a year. Maybe that's why it was so effective. But now obviously defenses, you know, can make adjustments, but it was a little teeny wrinkle that didn't cost us a dime that, man, I'll tell you, there's people breaking wide open. Sometimes the corner didn't know where to go out with the widest guy. I mean, it caused some indecision in there. It didn't cause any indecision for us. Hey, run two guy. You run the deeper route, but hell, you don't know how to run anyway. Just get down there 12 yards and run and come back or stop. Wide out, you boys love doing it. You run a little sit-down read route. Okay, so, you know, and so we're right back in business again, doing the same exact thing, but now hopefully giving the defense a little more problem. And one of our major routes that we like to run was now run a little stop in there, and now dig that guy for a corner. So it's another way to get a post corner route in. And now you got the guy you won't run in the post corner, you're wide out, running the route. So extend to was something we would pull out twice a year. You know, in retrospect, this should be the normal part of the whole package, in my opinion. Got two other things, and we're going to try to find some film here and move that on the field and try to see how we can do all this stuff. Now, you know how we did trip sweep before, or not trips, loose right, loose left? Once we got involved with doing some of that, this is left half back. Remember how we talked about, you know, this is that loose right, loose left, or trips right. Now we move this guy back off the ball so he's an eligible receiver. And now here's, you know, this is my two wide receivers right here together now, right? Okay? So now, at a trips look, we would run two receiver waggle, and now we're right back to the extend to part of it. And now that guy runs his 2 receiver route, because look, we're already over there. You know, you're a wide receiver, you run your 2 receiver route. You know, you run your hash route, and you run that route. Now I got my 2 best receivers running routes they already know how to run out of a formation that, like somebody said, you know, before, well, maybe the guy is, maybe that second wide receiver is legal, maybe he's not. And here again, I'm making more money now because I'm not coming up with a whole bunch of new passing schemes. I had to teach that guy how to run a post, but he knows how to do it. You know what I mean? He's running, that's your running back. He just steps up on the line like a tight end. And here again, I haven't, you know what I mean, I haven't had to, everybody knows the routes to start with, that's what I'm trying to say. Once extend two's in, that guy knows how to run a read route. So it provided us with a nice little trips play action pass. Because loose right, loose left, when that guy's ineligible, that's a running formation for us. We felt like we needed a pass, now step the wing back, and I don't say step it, remember what I told you before, align that wing back right up there as the tight end, just like that. And sometimes, you know, like you say, this guy, they'll say, well, he's been ineligible, just make sure he slips back off the line compared to being on the line, and you got something going. One last play, and then we'll look at a little bit of tape here. If we ever felt like we've got people robbing or people, you know, maybe deciding, okay, this is really a mini trips look, even though we didn't leak this guy out in the flat or whatever, and you get people squatting over here and running a cornerback or, you know, doing something unsound back there. You know, now they got a strong and a corner, and this guy's over the top half. Got a squat coverage there, and this guy's a half defender. We never felt like we had enough at times going back that way. So one of the things we would do then would be, and you don't have to do it just out of this formation, is what we call waggle screen. It was a one-man screen. We weren't going to waste a whole lot of time. We are by far the worst screen team in America. But this guy would block 2 with 2 counts, and then he was just a one-man screen.
Move up, Coach.
Always, you know what was the damnest part about this? If we were blocking real waggle, that guy could come inside of us and our halfbacks wouldn't block that, wouldn't take the inside lane away from him for nothing. Waggle screen, I've never seen such. Boom, they get hung up on, it was the best block of the year. I could never figure that out, you know, but that's the way it worked with us. Unbelievable block on the guy when you didn't want him to block. But anyway, so, and we would set up cones, we wanted you know, we tried to make this a spot throw. It's kind of difficult when guys are drifting, but he would come 5 yards outside the tight end and 3 yards in the backfield. And you know, it's really, you know, the tackle was just there as insurance. And actually the tackle look and kick out on anybody first, and if there's nobody to kick out on, just turn upfield. There's some better teaching ways with that. But here again, we weren't going to be a big screen team now. And you know what? They didn't have to kick the coverage for us to do any of that. And the quarterback, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, drift, and throw. And, you know, that 2 receiver waggle package was...
Did you send the tight end up underneath that corner?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Now, he's still going to do what he normally would do. They would do what they normally do. Except I think he ran a post no matter what, just get the free. Block and waggle. Everybody's block and waggle. Guards are pulling if we don't, you know, both of them are pulling if they can. You know, if there's no split call or whatever, they're running waggle. And the tackle's block and waggle, the left tackle. My assignment is block 2 cup. I step down, block 2, 1001, 1002, then I go. I guarantee you, we used to hold people out. They didn't know it was a screen. You know, we couldn't get in the block two with the wag way at the time. You know, it probably didn't run this enough, but when we ran it, it was always, you know, I told you I wouldn't show you anything. We ran 6 times a year, but I think maybe we were only run this about 10 times a year. Probably could run it more. But we try to do so damn many things. One place we were deficient with screen, but that's... All right. Now, I said I was going to show you film, and I got to show you one more thing with this. We don't always just want to run things to a split inside. We didn't want to be that predictable. I feel like this offense, you should be able to do anything you do to the split inside or to the tight inside, you got it to be able to do to the split inside. So staying in, I'm not giving you all the formations, not by design, but I just want to make sure, I think you're getting an idea here. We could run 2 receiver waggle to the tight end side. We didn't like it that much, but that's the way we introduced it. But by now, getting a little bit out of character and getting in what we call run-2 spread, we got a lot of run-2 spread, or getting in what we call pro 300, and now we got split end in the game. Split end. And this guy's the flanker, but he was, in essence, was trained as a split end. We call that pro 3. All right, and here again, now the tight end, he ran the read route. The running back now ran the sit down at 12, fullback here, hard post. So I mean, so if you got a tight end, you want to get the ball to your tight ends and all, you know, you can still run 2 receiver waggle back to the tight end. Where are we only going to run this? Only on the left hash. We're never going to run this play in the middle of the field. There's not enough room to run it in the middle of the field. The routes get too crowded. Well, now I got him over too far, but at least the hash is good. Didn't like this as much because the tight ends weren't fast enough. And if you ask them inside release, they never got to the read thing. So we would actually say this time you can outside release, and then that didn't help the guards out. Didn't like this one, you know, quite as much. But since this guy already knows the route, we liked it a little bit better out of this formation. But we didn't run this as nearly as much as we ran it on the play. But I just wanted to share that with you. I'll leave that on for a second. Okay. Man, all right?
Turn that a little bit to you, coach, and shoot right at the BCR. Yeah, so there you go.
All right, here we go. This is rough. Okay. Whoa. All right, we got that one a little late. There we go. We're hitting the guy on the hash. You see, we're getting the sit-down route. You'll see some of these guys running the takeoff. I guess he's reading that as either man or 2. And we said, you know, if you read it that way, the guy can break out rather than just sitting on the hash. This is definitely 3 here. Okay, you can see how. You can see how. Here's a strong safety. Turn outside. He covered that route, but he couldn't get in the throwing lane for the outcut. All right, now we're in spread 3. We didn't want to run to it. It's like stealing over there, guys. And that quarterback, I guarantee you got guys that got arms better than his. I mean, I love him, but he didn't have very good arms. watch what he does here now. Now, see him getting underneath that and expanding? You see what I mean? Now he took the out away. Our quarterback, he went to the fullback. I don't know why he didn't eyeball up with the hash man, but hey, we'll take that too. All right, now we got him so he wasn't expanding again. That's the guy you're working over big time. All right, now here's a post and fly. You know, they were robbing something in there, and that obviously wasn't on the 6th step. He just kept breaking contain. All right, I told you we hit the tight end one time for a touchdown. See, that was the backside tight end. Supposed to be running the post. If you watch them, they're down there in man a little bit. They get a little mesmerized. There's his guy. There's the eat. You know, we'll show you the good with the bad. I mean, you get too worried about the routes, you got some problems. Now we're in loose run two wide outs in the game. Throw the ball to the fullback. Boom, touchdown. They were in man, and guess what? They're again, 3rd down in man. Why are you guys letting play action in 3rd down? Why are you doing it? Just because of that. Okay, there's a little bit of a, that was that smash route, or whatever you want to call it, out of. Watch, see now the wide out stops. That guy runs a corner route. And a little tight, but. See, the one thing that I'm neglecting as I talk about how much field we got over there is the quarterback is rolling that way. So it's not like he's throwing it on the backside hash. There's a post route in there. It's a little bit too far, but it worked. Everybody's covered. Dump the ball, 3rd read, fullback. Should have done it more. All right, here's a little bit of a post and fly. And that was versus 3 now. And when we run a post versus 3, we try to run a skinny post and try to put the corner on an island. Whoops, that's what we're going to get to next. A little bit of lead option in there. I threw that in there. So not a perfect world, then we'll take it. I think that's it. I'll show you one. Thing that really gives me a case of the red ass now. I work right, I don't know what I'm talking about personally, but like, you got to go outside of cover 2. Watch what happens here. He goes inside, and you know, if you'd run outside, that guy either had to, you know, those are some little things that they bug me to death. You know, outside, you're with strenuous technique, and if you're running any kind of wagon, you got to get outside. Because of this kind of stuff. Now he folds in and makes a play. Imagine if he just stayed outside, that guy kept running with it. That'd another 20 yards. Those are little details that share a couple of these with you. This is the opening drive against Rhode Island. Here's trip sweep down inside. We blow it a little bit, but look. You know, that's where that guy was supposed to come in there and wall off. He was actually supposed to bypass that guy and go to the next backer, but they gave the guy, the kid, a look he didn't like. All right, here comes unbalanced sweep. This is not a setup, guys. You know what this is? This is the first 5 plays of an opening drive here. So we've gone two receiver waggle, belly, trip sweep, that was unbalanced sweep. About time for what, a gut? Something. How about another belly? Or how about two receiver waggle, huh? Belly. Here comes gut. I remember this one. Gut, pull away. Look, here's what I'm talking about with the pull away, guys. The play doesn't work, but the influence, you know, we got our ass stuck in the hole, but watch. Guy pulls away. Boom. Pull back. Just I think you could have found something in there. All right, here comes the last one, and we'll go out and just talk. Is single receiver waggle into the boundary. Tight end, crosser. Take my word for it, it's a touchdown. All right, let's go on outside, man. We'll see what we got going out there. I felt confident that our receivers didn't get off the line of scrimmage without false stepping. And since then, there's been studies done where false stepping doesn't slow you down as much as you might think. But boy, it doesn't look very pretty, and I didn't like it. Well, as I talked with the people in William and Mary, they taught me a trick that would ensure that the guy wouldn't false step. And I don't know if we get off the line any faster, but at least we don't false step very much, you know. So that was what I was looking for. And one of the things that they did was that they wanted all the weight on the back foot, all of the weight on the back foot. And the front knee was slightly flexed. They wanted their receivers' hands as if they're a sprinter coming out of the blocks, and they wanted them slightly in from the shoulders. But here again, they wanted you to be comfortable and slightly more of a stagger than a heel toe. The inside foot could be back a little bit more. But all the weight was on the back foot, and the way you could test it was you walked around and you wanted those guys to have a tight hamstring there. So that when they pushed off, you got the 6-inch step, then you actually started into your break. And from that moment on, that's the way we taught our receivers their stances. And they were in a track position, if you saw them, that's the way that we did. And it did alleviate, quote, the false stepping. Now, I'm not sure if you take off any faster. That's what I was really looking for, but I felt like the false stepping, we used to teach, you know, what everybody else teaches, you know, roll over the front foot and, or, you know, foot on the front foot and come with that one. It seems easy enough as you're demonstrating it, but somehow we never got that far. There were some slight modifications, however. If you got pressed in your face, somehow having a tight hamstring on your back foot lended itself for maybe the guy being able to get his hands on you. So if you got pressed right now or you got somebody in your face, we allowed our guys to unstagger their feet so that now they could get their feet almost parallel, somewhat like a dive back stance, believe it or not. I didn't want them squatted down. But now, when you got somebody in your face, we didn't care if your feet came up a little bit more parallel, and now you could go inside or outside with them. So those were really the only two things that we taught our receivers about a stance and about takeoff. Obviously, once we got them in their stances, just like we did everybody else, got them in a line, got their weight on their back foot, their inside foot. We got them just to do a bird dog, just a little 6-inch step with that foot. Then we got them so where we would do takeoff, and we would line them up, and just like we do with the running backs, and they would do 5-yard takeoffs, etc. Okay. We didn't catch enough long balls, so every day as a warm-up, when the kids ran out from the field, we had a quarterback on each hash, and all we did was have our guys just slowly warm up and they would do what we call fly drill. And it was just part of their warming up process. It got the quarterbacks would have to be out there 10 minutes early. We didn't try to overcoach the quarterbacks during this period. We got with them at different time slots during the spring, and we worked mechanics. Where I was, we had to work an awful lot of mechanics. We never got a finished product. As a matter of fact, in my 6 years back at Del State, there was never a quarterback that I ever put their approval on that, yes, we should make a go on him and give him a scholarship. And my head coach said, if we did what you wanted, Coach, we wouldn't have signed a scholarship quarterback in 6 years because none of them were good enough for you. So eventually, you know, they would make a meeting without me being there, and they would sign some quarterback that I would go, oh my God, I can't believe. You know, that's what I'm going to have to work with the next couple of years. So I would take the guys all the way back, and we had very simple, you know, this isn't a quarterback drill camp, or you didn't come here just to learn about quarterback play, but we would work a lot with fundamental throws with the quarterback, and rather than clog up everything with that, you know, we'll get right on to the waggle, but you need to talk with me more about it, because I would think probably you guys have to do a lot of fundamental work with your quarterbacks. I'm probably on the same page as you, doing some of the same drills as you, but I do believe in North Turner, and we do believe in when we do get to some drop back and all, of hit and throw, pitch and throw, hang and throw, and throwing on time. But that's a whole nother lecture that maybe we'll get to. Okay. Hey, Bruce, do we know what happened to the spacer?
Right now, Coach, that's MIA, but I'm going to make you one if you can bear with me.
No, I just need something to give us well, I got some. And with lines, I'm not sure, I just marked this off by foot. Initially, we would tell this guy to stand at 12 yards, where his cut break is supposed to be. And we would get the quarterback to go ahead and take his waggle steps and we get the quarterback, nobody else in the backfield to come back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put your belly on there. I'll take those baby steps. And we stand the wide out at where he should be on the field. We just want him standing there. No, nothing. That's the way we would introduce our routes. They would stand as to where they were going to be, and we would start out with the #1 receiver. All right. In this case, this is single receiver waggle to the split inside. All right, so, you know, next guy would get up there, you know, next quarterback. And now remember, this was going on simultaneously as the sweep drill and the guard trap drill was going on. All right, so we would let the guys get a feel initially for where the outcut was going to occur, and they would throw it. And the wide out wouldn't even, Coach, he wouldn't even be doing that yet. And we would, you know, let him go through 4 or 5 reps, depending on the time frame, but usually that was it. Then we would tell the wide out. They've already worked on their takeoffs, and in their group period before we got the drill period, they had worked an outcut. All right, so now we would come on back, Coach, after you called a few. Now we would say, all right, fellas, we're going to go ahead and run. We want to go ahead and run the route now, on air. But I would set up the turn. First thing, we always run the outside foot back. And here again, we would always check them, hold it, look at your stance. Your stance is already right, not right. And we would go back and we would try to feel that hamstring, how tight it was, all right? And if it was tight, you know, they were on, you know, they were flexed, and they would be able to push off that back foot and get that single step going. coach has got the wrong stance, so I put the right foot up, left foot there. There we go. Now he's probably got a different one. All right, we wanted that one tight, so that we can push off of that and get that 6-inch step. Anyway, what we tried to teach was right off the bat, threaten that cover three's technique. And I'd get out here and I'd be the cover three guy. I'd say, all right, I'm about 6 yards from you. I don't want you to beat me to the outside. So if you're going to stick me, where are you going to stick me? Somewhere outside. I don't want to get beat to the outside. So if you look at your angle, come on out. Oh my God. What else you don't do about that? We didn't have anybody that could take off that fast, usually, but anyway. After trying to tell him that. Anyway, so he's sticking my technique, trying to close my cushion. We used to tell him this, running down. Try to run right up his toes, this cornerback. And if you're running him down, even though it's free now, suppose you run me down and I'm just sitting here flat-footed. What is the route going to be now? Yeah, I mean, we didn't do that day one. I mean, we talked him into all that. We're just saying, hey, it's free, and basically give me the outcome. Remember, if he's too slow, I can go. But we used to talk to him in terms like that. Running down. Try to run so far you close this cushion so fast you grab his face mask. And if we did it with each other, I ain't telling you, we'd tell him, go ahead and grab his face mask. And he close his cushion. We would do stuff like that to let him know how important closing that guy's cushion down there. And you wanted to always threaten that guy. Threaten. Let him know you're going to do this. We would brainwash our guys into doing that. Now, as you come up, I'm a good quarterback, and now you're going to snap with that outside foot. Okay. Now, he did a speed out, and we never taught the speed out for this particular route. We felt more comfortable teaching more of a comeback out where we would gather, plant, settle our hips, snap, and come back down and try to get away from that cushion that we've already created. So ours more of a comeback out, if you will. That's what we sort of started dubbing it. All right, so we've thrown it. Guys, we didn't throw it more than 4 or 5 times stationary. We wish we had more time, but we had to get on with it, you know. So then we would try to time it up, and now I'm watching. Here's what I'm watching. If he's throwing it, I'm not watching. I could care less about the completion rate most of the time. I'm sitting right here, and I'm saying, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Throw it. And you know, sometimes the rookies didn't have the ball right. We wanted the ball up on the 4th step. Boom, throw it. It took them a while to get with it. Throw it, you know, and I'm doing this even when they're just standing there. I'm trying to get them the idea that if they like the outcut, it's got to be thrown on their 6th step at a depth of about 6 yards behind the tackle box. Just throw it. Then we've incorporated it. Now let's try it again. Now let's get the guy running his route. Now I'm sitting there and seeing, all right, throw it. Throw it, you know, throw it. And some things that we found were problems would be, A, we always talked about having their belly button at the target, their belly button. And everybody talks about as you're rolling and throwing, you know, you're throwing off the wrong foot. It's hard to throw off your wrong foot. You almost do it all the time. You get more trunk rotation if you're throwing on the run. We want them to point the lead shoulder, have the belly button at the target, clear with the front foot, and throw. But guys, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to lie to you 1 second, we didn't overcoach play action throwing the ball. And I suggest you don't overcoach it. But the guy, if you see the guys throwing, we would tell our quarterbacks there's always a reason for a bad throw. There's always a reason for a bad throw. And that would go back to our fundamentals about the ball spinning off the fingertips and taking it again. Maybe get a chance to talk to you about that. One thing that I see most of the Hodges kids I work with is the elbow. You know, they don't put the elbow up. We talk about always leading with the elbow as we throw. And the other thing that I can tell you is that they don't seem to want to keep their left hand on the ball enough. We call it the guide hand. The guide hand puts the rocket launcher in the silo, and boom. And we get a lot of kids down in here like this, and they wonder why they don't have much accuracy. So, I give you in a nutshell some of the things that we would talk about with them in terms of their mechanical. But they got a lot to do here now on this particular play. 1, 2, 3, chin, duck, glance the periphery, we say. Now, as I'm standing here now, and you know, these guys want to complete all these passes, right? I'm standing here, I'm trying to get a feel. Sometimes I'd have a receiver coach, sometimes not. I'm standing here trying to watch this. Keeping his footwork down is number one important if he's going to throw the outcut. But he would get so intent on throwing the ball, they would forget about glancing the periphery. So as I stand here, every now and again, I'll give him one of these. Blitz. You know what I mean? Perimeter pressure. So, you get a guy just worried about all this, completing the ball on the fifth step, sixth step, and all that. I would really come across there and say, whoa, come on, that's the way to let him know. Now, you're not glancing. You've got to do this. You've got to feel whether it's your point. And when I would do that, you know, when they would see me, they would stop. When they were still going on out. Now, they didn't get to their sixth step, but hey, that's a way of getting them, hey, you're going to get choked off sometimes. Everything's not going to be just exactly like the diagram. And as a coach, I think on Waggle, one of the best things you can do, and you don't have to do it, but I'd get a player over here to do it, and not do it every play. You know, let him do it. And if we ever had 2 quarterbacks in the same drill, when I got tired, I would incorporate your players to help you out with it. Okay. Another thing that we did, notice how I went over here and played corner, right? We always did this. We always said, after, you know, this is after, you know, we're able to run the route. Things are going pretty good over here. The next step we would incorporate would be, okay, coach, you just ran the route. Now you come over here and play defense. Okay. And again, this wasn't as much as quarterbacks read. We're not getting into the reading aspect of it. Is now we wanted you to get a feel for threatening the guy's technique. Initially, you did it on air. You did it on me a little bit. I was easy. You know, now let's do it on a little bit better athlete, and let's try to get the feel for what we're trying to do. So. We didn't encourage chopping. We didn't make it a step route. It was a yardage route for us. So he had to get to that yardage point, but the good guys would figure out about how many steps it was. So we didn't want to hear him chopping. And that's another thing I would do on occasion. I'd stand with my back to the receiver and try to hear what he was doing. If I heard too much of that, I said, hey, come on now. I've got my back to you. I know when you're going to cut it. Tip off. The receiver's going to, the defensive back's going to jump. All right? All right, so now we got that going on. The tight ends have been down there blocking. All right? With the sweep that we did yesterday. All right, now what we'll do is we'll incorporate the tight ends as the crosser. So we'll set up the bag. So they split time in our technique period. We always want them at least 50% block, but we felt like we needed to get them involved in the passing game too. So we would divide that 25-minute period up so it was more like 16 minutes they blocked, and then it was more like that. So what is that? I'm not sure. 2/3 of the time they were blocking. Anyway, step down underneath the backer and run your crossing route. So we would set up the cones or spacers. All right, you would stand there, the other tight end would stand there, the quarterback now would, boom, we're telling you where to throw, come around, all right, you're off of 1 now, we'll get the fullback involved later, you look at 2, and now you're going to 3. So we incorporate the tight end, usually before the fullbacks. Fullbacks are working on guard catch, we didn't want to sacrifice that. Running the route. All right, come on back. All right, obviously the next step is what? After we threw it to him in the box a few times, we would get him actually running the route. And now give me another tight end over here. Anybody. All right, here again, right now, initially, we didn't have these guys in there for a quarterback read. We would just tell this guy, he's your second backer, be aware of him and his drop. He might get sucked up on the play fake, you know, we'd tell him, just run over there. Now you step down underneath the first backer. All right, now you would definitely climb behind this guy. Okay. So you can see what we try to do with every drill before we put it in a 7-on-7 or before we did anything with anybody. We would want that guy, and what the most important part of the play was to him, to at least get a chance to see it a couple of times, 10 times before he had to do it. The most important part for this guy was, what was he going to do with this linebacker? If this guy read pass and he got deep, then he could cross underneath him, but he was still going to get in there. He either went behind or in front of this guy based on what that backer's drop was. So that was what's important to the tight end, so we put that in there. Never would you allow this guy to intercept the ball from the quarterback. That's not the purpose of putting that guy in there at this point.
Like a lot of times, a lot of things don't just roll right into it. Would you have him stop?
No, time out. This was very passive, man. These days were very passive. In other words, I'm not setting up a drill for quarterback read yet. I want him to be aware of what's important to him. You know, what's important to the quarterback right now is throwing, you know what I mean, to the wide out, you know, on a 6-step, or getting off of that guy, finding 2, then finding 3. We're not ready to have a bunch of backers in there yet. This was really a passive thing for this, you know, You know, and I'll be honest, sometimes the guys were just sort of bull crap, you know, all right, I ran here, and go behind me, but it gave him what I wanted. It gave him the idea he needs to think about that backside backer. That's all the objective was with having this guy in. You got me? Yeah. And the other thing we said was, hey, it's play action. You know what I mean? It's play action. You're not going to catch this guy usually dropping right back into the curl. If he is, we got to do something about your technique. Obviously, you know, you're showing the ball, or our guys aren't taking their 2 steps to make it look like sweep first. You see what I mean? So on a waggle setup, you're probably not going to get as, I know you're not going to get as conventional drop as you would, you know, if you drop back. So it's a little bit different. So that's what I mean. This backer is a lot of times doing some screwy things. You know what I mean? He might think it's sweet. That's what I mean. We a lot of times just had him stepping up, or we had him stepping and then getting depth once he recognized it. So you went behind him sometimes and in front of him other times. That's all I was trying to tell you. Okay. So now we've got 2 guys working the route during this drill. The other thing that we would do, here's where we would introduce cover 2. And now come on out. Here again, real passive initially. In group work, they work on their stances, their takeoffs, and a couple of releases. Okay, wide outs. And that's something we need to go over with. But you know, we talked about sticking the guy's technique if it's cover 2. You know, I'm gonna try to get outside of it. And if I can, boom, you rip right by you. That's all we want. I mean, we don't want to get too fancy. Everybody wanted to swim, and you know, when we taught swim, we taught punch swim, and you know, I had, you know, certain rules. I didn't like for them to swim because our guys would swim like in slow motion, and they just open up their breastplate to get reroute. We didn't like it. I taught them quarter, rip, or you know, head fake, too, that kind of thing. We have to do this on that area. And this is where we introduce it here, because he's going against his friends or not his friends, his other wideouts. They're not going to get true cover 2 as much. Just wanted them to start, you know, get an idea of what cover 2 is.
flip move, go. And we didn't get much activity out of that. We didn't get as much, not as these babies out in the field to show you a real good look, but we wanted to introduce you to up there. And what I really wanted to see was for the quarterback to gun the ball, where he's supposed to gun it on his 6th step as he beats cover 2. So then we would alternate. All right, wide out goes cover 2, tight end, you're crossing. So quarterbacks would go. And obviously we would have to flip the drill around so that everybody doesn't just go right and go left. So that was our introduction, and that's how we would start out day 1 teaching the wide courses 2 and 3. Notice we stayed away from man. Okay. The other thing that we had to do, and this came in a different segment of practice, and we never did it here, was we would teach single receiver waggle back to the tight end. Now, usually during this period, since the wide out, remember that thing I put up there, the wide out to the back side, so we would never have them run a route that was not going to play with. So generally, if we were working, this is maybe during kicking game, we're not going to have you running a route we're not going to go to. You're working on 3 steps, you're working on releases, you're working on stops. All right, I got my tight end over here. Now we're going to work you on your angle route. Now I'll set up the cones on this side. And now single receiver waggle back to the tight end. Step down, release, right, coach? And now you're going to run your flag route or corner route. And we always set cones down, and that's a little too shallow. Your course should be a little more here. Let me have some more cones, guys. We start out with his inside release. Inside release, and now he's running this route. Now, quarterback rolls. Now, this was a little bit longer throw. We didn't care, and coming back to the tight end, we're not talking as much about it being a timing throw as it was back to the split end. Because we encourage you, if you like the guy, what? He's the #1 read. If he's open, he's open, he's open. Why would you wait here? What are you waiting for? If he's open, yeah, you should be throwing it. We weren't nearly as stickler about him throwing the ball on his 6th step going to the tight end. However, it was almost understood if he's open, you need to gun the ball in there. It's more important on the outside. Because of his release, you know what I mean? It's never the same way twice. A lot of times you have to put it down a little harder at times. You couldn't time it up. But this couldn't be as clean as the guys did. All right, then at some point during practice, and it might be during teamwork, not teamwork, but during technique period, which is generally a run period, we get the backside halfback, wing back, and we would dedicate 5 minutes of him now running the crossing route. And here again, we have full backfields now. This is where the fullback would work on his flat route. And now during team technique, or excuse me, during backfield technique, we would make sure that the halfbacks, just like the tight ends were before, we would set the drill up so that now they would step underneath and work their crossing route. So within the first day, I don't know if you caught this, at certain periods during that day, and they always couldn't coincide because we had so much to do, we're going to teach the guys the single receiver waggle route. Day 1. Tight end, when we could get them to teach their crossers during drill period, but we taught them their corner route during kicking game. That's an example. running backs, one of them's always faking. All he had to really know is the crossing route. We didn't really work on the soft post much. Why? Because what? That's a throwaway route. You know, we taught them, we showed them and all that, but we didn't really work that route. That was just like a long sprint. We do too much and our guys do a lot of running on that. But now, we grab them at another segment in practice, and it might be technique period, and we put in 5 minutes so they knew what the crosser was, because that's an important route for us. Okay? All right. Obviously, what started happening then was what? Now, the next 2 days or so, when we felt like we could do this confidently enough on air, we started adding defenders. All right, defenders. And sometimes this would be a drill period. Now give me a fullback and a wide out over here since I got stuff over here. Fullback and a wide out. All right, good. Back like this. Okay. Now we're ready to go ahead and have a defender. Me, another coach, initially, when we always started out so that I could replicate what a strong safety or an outside back is really going to do. Okay, so as we run waggle now, fullback, what's your route here?
What?
Okay, how about your steps? Oh, right on. Now, after you get through that mesh, I don't care how you get out here in the flat. And now, what would I do? I would drive underneath the L at times. Come on, go, run it, go. Somebody's in the throwing lane. We got a new quarterback after that. Okay, I would be the guy that generally they could get in the throwing lane for him. But I also would tell him, just like I told you, I'm the guy, the outside backer, the strong safety that can generally get in the throwing lane. But it might be the cheerleaders, it might be the band, somebody might run out on the field. But generally, I'm the person that can get in your throwing lane. If he sees me in the throwing lane and he kept going a little bit and dinks the ball in his fullback, hey, that's wonderful. Notice, when he gets off a number 1 read, I don't care what the steps are when he hits the fullback, number 2, or when he hits the crosser, number 3. Got me? Don't misinterpret that. It's only throwing it to the outside guy that we really had that problem about throwing it all the time. But that's how we try to introduce swagger. Back to the tight end. Same kind of thing. Give me a tight end down there. I've covered 3. That's how we start all the routes. Cover 3. Cut down inside release. Just the tight ends and the fullback. I just want you doing 1, 2, 3 reads. 1, 2 reads. And then slowly but surely we would get a halfback over here, and now we would go with our 3-read situation. Obviously, we would pick our time to work 3, 2, and man. All right? But I didn't initially put a whole defense over there. I just put the one guy that probably could screw something up over there. And as an example, if we did 2, the guy that I wanted to be the 2 guy, in the corner, all right, what are you going to do? All right, swaggle again versus 2, what are you going to do? Yeah. So we would give the quarterback, really easy reads though, guys. You know what I mean? All right, down. All right, where should he throw the ball now? Yeah, him and the fullback working together. Now it's in the flat, okay? Next time I'm throwing the heck out of my buddy there, he got, boom, did he get rid of it on the 6th step. So the common sense approach before we got to 7-on-7, so that these guys have already got the fundamental base read what they got to accomplish within the route. Okay. Okay, stay over there. All right, now give me a wing back now. Alright, what are we going to do with two receiver waggle? Come on, halfback hard. Before we even go in motion though, you get out there where you belong. Don't even run your route. One thing that we would do though, we would have them, just so this wasn't such an easy drill for you guys, we would have you, he would go, red, set, go, and we would say, all right, on 3 seconds turn around, or on 2 seconds turn around. And there was times that we got real fancy. I would tell just one of them to turn around, this time. And so the quarterback had to pick the right guy. So this would become just such an easy drill. We wanted it fairly easy. So now we've got two receiver waggle without the fullbacks, 1 read, 2 read. And we would just get out here and throw it. Boom. 6-step with the out cut. Didn't like the out cut. Boom. Come back into number 2. All right. So now we would do that. You guys are understanding how we try to approach it. Do it on air. Put the receivers. We felt like this was good for the receivers. Coach, come on down your stem a little bit, though. Down those cones a little bit. Okay. And there was times, yeah, what I mean, when we would ask to let him stand there and let the quarterback throw it, he would come down and stem. And we would let you vary yours, whether you drift inside or out. We would do that. Everybody running. We do the proper place in the summer game. Call the receivers where they're supposed to be. The quarterback. Perfect world where they're going to be for you. All right, obviously what? Then we would come on back. Now on air, you would come across. Now you would get your technique done on air. You would run your route. And you know what? I wouldn't even give the guy, just give him a read. I just wanted to do the outside. What it was supposed to be. And if you broke, you passed it out. All right, right back again. After we felt like, that's going pretty good, and now remember guys, you got to go to the other side now. One side. Then we would put in, what, just like we did before. Who's the guy that can stop the play? Probably the curl flat defender. So now we finally incorporated a read in there. Okay? Now I'm the guy, and you got cover 3, come on across, you can come on across. Yeah, I'm just going to get to the spot. We worked on the timing, tried to see. There's a couple years we felt like maybe that was too deep. We were short. Everything that I said wasn't written in stone. It was more about what was his skill level, what was his arm strength. So we're a little bit flexible in there. Because, what's not very good as a demonstration about these freaking ass spacers, which they have, you can't get a true relationship unless you go on the hash as separation there. Okay. And if you notice, the quarterback was rolling. Remember I told you it's a long throw, but you can see in that Youngstown film, the guy does roll a little bit now. We didn't count his step. He looked like he was about an 8-step or an 8. He wasn't throwing it on the 6. He was more like the 8-step. Still getting it there. All right, so now either myself, I place the defender, just like I did then, really obviously, the next thing that we did, cover 2. You know what I mean? We always want to keep 2 and 3. This might start you well. I can't get that up. Now we're going to cover. cover 2, which it is release being outside and jet. Sit down. You had either one that time. I ran with him. So,
Coach, in that cover 2, how close to the sideline does your body hit? You said 5.
never, I think we always told them where they couldn't be closer than 5 yards from the sideline. Now, and we always said a minimum of 10 yards in between your 2 routes. So we gave them some flexibility. There was times when I said, God almighty, I didn't call extensive, where this guy's running inside route. I see this wide out in here too tight. And he was telling me, Coach, I just want to get more width with this guy, so he thought maybe I'm running, up the alley, then I'm going to snap it off. I gave, I'll be honest, I didn't always have a receiver coaching on communicating a lot. I gave him flexibility. That's something else I need to talk to you about. I found that when I gave kids ownership of their routes and responsibility for their route, they did a lot better job than when I told them. And, that's something I had a hard time as a coach letting go of. I can't let that kid do that. I can't let him decide do it. Maybe have a class with some of these other routes we'll talk about later on. And I found they were more into the game. They did a better job. They had much better suggestions than when I was on them. Now this one pretty much said here. It was cover 2 or cover 3. But it sort of fit in their pattern. We're trying to give you the right route at all times over there. So that was sort of once we got some of the base fundamentals of our pass routes in, we would set up different skeleton situations. So we want to have the entire backfield in there to demonstrate what we're trying to get done. So now we needed everybody. We did these little breakdowns, like we call them, those little skeleton situations for initial routes. But once things got rolling after 5 or 6 days of practice, everybody sort of, we got most of our bases up in. Now when something like, we have another wing back now. I got to tell you that we have a wing back. Right now when something like runaway wagon came in, we would say, let's run it on air. We wouldn't put you in those positions all the time for runaway. The quarterback's already got a good feeling about wagon. He knows there's a crosser, he knows there's a guy deep, and he knows there's a guy in the flat, okay? So as we progressed, we didn't stop and go backwards with some of the stuff that we showed you. But something like runaway wagon, where this guy had to modify his split, come on in a little bit. We would try to teach it, come on across on runaway wagon. We said, you're going to run through, upfield, and now you're going to stick, and now you're going to scream like a dig across. Yeah, you keep going out. And tight end, go ahead, you run your route, and fullback, you run your route. Now, we would freeze everybody on air and say, look, here it is. Okay? And now we would get our own guys in there, and we would sort of play defense, and if it's 3, we went through the reads and we told them all of it, but more importantly, come on back. We would use the one other thing that we would do, just give me a double wing now, Coach, give me a double wing. The other route that I got time to talk with you about is waggle at 5. Remember the waggle at 5, and where do we like this mostly versus 2, so that's what we would start out at. So we would tell the guys, number 1, run it on air, come on through. Now stick underneath. Now we would set up the cones for you now. At 5 meant at about 12 yards, yeah, we wanted you coming on upfield, and we would actually put cones in. There you go, look, outside. Outside. Yeah, and now we want a nice distribution in there, and we would get the tight end, you go to your flag, go back to your flag. And now we would say, you'd want to be a little bit wider than that. All right, quarterback, check the distribution out. You'd want to be a little bit wider than that, okay? Check it out. Okay, that's what you're going to see. That's what the routes are supposed to look like. All right? Like that. Come on back.
Still on the modified split.
Yeah, anytime you're coming back inside, we want you to keep it, keep it. And then we also said when plays went away from your run game, cheat it every now and again. Hence, I could never make everybody stay to a steadfast rule about where they should line up on the field. I had a real problem. Still do. Right now. Again, it was always me, too. And I gained a few pounds if I wasn't doing this, but all right, now guys, cover two. Cover two. This is where we like this route. Cover two. What are you going to do?
You're the safe.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to get my attention, try to get me to yes indeed. I need to see your notes down here, all right? Good job, all right? And you're going to stick though, because man, you might have a hand fight to deal with this quarterback. This is two, and we usually line up another receiver over, we didn't always have the service of the defensive back, so, we wanted you to get beat up in practice. We wanted you to work your technique. Just doing it on air don't get it done, So, you would stick that guy, come on through. He would stick him off of his tail, and now, come through, and now bend it. Get your hips upfield and bend it, okay? You look over. Yeah, because that was easier for you, okay? Tight end, you were there. So, we would get a cover two guy, and now we'd get a hash man. I wish I had the lining on the field, but now what would we do? We would give him a read. Come on with me. Boom, 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 boom. Close. And then obviously I would go to either side so that now the quarterback gets a feel for cover two, who's he looking for, what's the route distribution, etc., 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 etc. Okay. Kids on the field work. I'm the cover two corner. I'm in reality the guy that you got to beat. The reason we love this play on paper is that rather than just running takeoffs at a cover two look, if my man does a great job of faking and the quarterback does a good job of faking, what's the cover two corner? Who is it? Any of the support guy? So we said this has got to be a balls out, great fake. And it's a touchdown, or potential to be a touchdown. So you step down, boom, boom. Oh yeah, motion coming. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But now look at this. Now wait a second. Whoa. That's who we're trying to vamoose. The corner by play action faking, rather than just running takeoff. That works too. I understand that. But the guy we're trying to really get is this corner. And if you don't step down, you don't do it. And so there he goes. These guys are stepping down. So and this guy seems to be going back and forth going all the way. It's good enough. Now, here's what I was trying to get you at. Right now, as you step down, remember our rule. I don't even know where the damn hashes are. Where are they? Are they right here?
Right about there.
All right, this is middle of the field play. 3 yards inside of the safety, so you're almost at 1, 2, you're back. You're almost there. And don't go 3 yards inside. That's all we want. All All right? Hey, I'll tell you what, give me a cornerback up here. I need a cornerback. Come on, sir. Cornerback. There you go. All right, now, as I'm the safety on the hash, what did we say in that thing? I said, you guys are paying attention. At 5 yards, how far should you be away from him? 5. 10, 10. So you're getting width. You're gaining as much width, maybe more width than depth. Okay, and then let me go just like this. You know, we would set the cones. You know, here, I don't have you stay in line. I can't. You know, at 5 yards, the ball would be on the line. We'd say, all right, this is where you are. This is where you are. Then when I'd mark out 10, you would be in there. Now this is where you are at 10. And then 15, you know, at 15. All right, obviously we let them run it on air with the cones so they can see their space and each other. All right, now we're ready to do cornerback, free safety. All right, and remember, quarterback, you're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No attack in any place. You're setting up right behind the center. All right, let's just walk through it. Here we go. Step down, release. And I'm the safety. Oh, let me. No. Okay. As you look, though. Yeah, we wanted you looking this way, inside. Easier throw. We always want it. You know. We want the quarterback to be able to drift you so that you can still be heading upfield.
What do you want the tight end looking in or out?
Okay. We want him looking inside too. All right, both of you are looking inside. All right. All right, and then we gave the quarterback, like I say, we gave him an initial read. And then we would screw around. I mean, after we got good about it. In the beginning, guys, if you want to give your quarterback reads, you know, don't give them gray reads. You know, like, I'm shorter on this guy, I'm shorter on that guy. Make it real distinctive for them so they get a little confident, you know. You'll just ruin them or you'll just get them all confused if you don't. Make it, you know, real hard. I went to the outside with this guy. Make it real hard. I stayed down in the middle until they get more confidence in the route. And that's with everything that we do. I made it very, very simple in the beginning. And little by little, incorporating the hardness to us. And then when I could get a bunch of onions over here, you know, Scout Team B and stuff like that, then we would place those kids in position to tell them, you know, do what you would do. Do your normal drops. Do your normal thing over there. Now, I left out the most important route on the takeoff. Particularly versus cover 2, we used to say this to the guys too. All right, we got you guys straightened out. You guys run your route good. You have the most important route on the whole play, even though we're not in the ball. Why? You got to get that guy's attention. If you just run some lousy route over there, that guy drifts down the middle and that guy goes over, it's a pick. You have got to run and get his attention post-corner, and it can be a lousy post-corner, by the way, but it has got to be, this guy can't be a factor in the play whatsoever. And that's the most important aspect of teaching this particular